like Jon Stewart, who's providing most of their political information. So I guess we'll have the same development here, and that's why I asked. So I was just curious to see what the situation is here.
Okay.
Yeah, we can start with the question.
I'll start.
Yeah.
Okay, where's the mic? Congressman, my first question is about your advocacy. You mentioned in the newspaper that you want to bring us back to the basics.
Yeah.
Greater public investment in infrastructure, health services, education, peace and order, political stability, and implementing the understandable system of government. Most of all, the fight against corruption would be one of the things that you would spearhead. They're very good statements on how exactly will you do the corruption thing.
The corruption thing is encouraging a culture of that does not put up, that does not tolerate any of the corruption. Look, in any entity, any large organization, even in any organization, large or not, meron talaga kahit paano, there will always be one or two na salbahe dyan na makasingit who are there, and they will try to go around the rules. They will try to basically take money that doesn't belong to them. They will try to do something that's against the rules. And these are isolated incidents. The problem is that what's happened is that the culture in our government has become such that the entire government, all its agencies, all its organs, all its offices, are allowed to be used for personal gain and for basically corruption. And look at in the past so many years, how many high-profile investigations have we seen in the Senate? How many well-proven incidents of corruption have we seen in government? None of them have been punished. Nothing has happened. The system hasn't changed, and the laws that are required to prosecute all this kind of wrongdoing exist. They're simply not being used. They're simply not being prosecuted. So it's a culture in government that that corruption is okay. This administration basically has said to all of its people that it's okay for you to make money in government. To take a little percentage here, to get a kickback, to overprice, okay lang yun. That's part of the way we do business. And that is the dangerous thing, because it's very simple for us to see from the different analyses that we're getting that so much of the funding that we get is lost simply to people stealing it, to inefficiency, to all kinds of problems. And immediately, if we can at least alleviate the problem, hindi siguro nasa ugali na ng tao yan. As I said, kahit saan kang pupunta, meron salbahe. But kung man lang mabawasan at maging mas masigasig ang kultura ng pamahalaan, ng administrasyon, na hindi pinababayaan, hindi pinapalusot yung mga huling-huli ng nagnanakaw, then at least there is a deterrent, and we can get back to the real business of government, which is service to the people, not self-enrichment, not partisan politics, not personal political ambition. So I think that is the development that we are looking at now. It's a different. There are always complaints about corruption in government, but this is not corruption in government anymore. This is a corrupted government, and all they do is find ways to put more money into their pocket. And that kind of thinking is. I just had a very interesting conversation with a friend, and we were talking about the power crisis. And sabi na, she just suddenly said, that's their last shot at making a lot of money. Kasi aalis na sila. So, gumagawa sila ng crisis that is actually artificial. And then they will go back to use the new rules, that they will shortcut the bidding procedures, that they will cut corners in the assessing and the bidding and the awarding procedures, and they will release a lot of money from which they will take their own last hurrah. And for somebody, And if you think about it, it's actually feasible. It might actually be what's happening. Because if you look at all the power plants that we're looking at, nagkasabay-sabay yung kanilang maintenance schedule. And that's why that's part of the reason why we're having a power crisis. So, to even consider as feasible or as possible the likelihood that this entire crisis, that we have been driven into this crisis by this government, simply to give them an opportunity to make a lot of money before they leave government. The fact that we even think about it immediately is a very bad sign, because we consider it to be possible that the people in high office, from the president and lower, are in fact capable of doing such things. And once we get to that point, then they're capable of doing anything. And I suppose that's why nobody trusts any longer the institutions of government, the institutions of our society. So, but what the specific ways we can do it? As I said, the laws are there, and I subscribe to what when asked this, kasama ko was one of my companions in the Nacionalista Party, and they said you have to prosecute the laws strictly, and you have to prosecute someone who is in fact somebody who's prominent, and show that you are serious in prosecuting anybody. It doesn't matter who they are, and this is something that this government has failed to do in the 9 years that they have been there, and that is why this culture of corruption continues. So that's one thing that you can do. In terms of the legislature, there are many things. There are new ways that have been proposed and are actually being done in other places. One of the things that I've been looking at very closely is something called quantitative legislation. Quantitative legislation essentially means that you enshrine into law the idea that if government pays a certain amount of money, government should get a certain amount of services or of material or of work back. Halimbawa, to make it a little more understandable. For example, if we say we will quantitatively legislate road building, so we will say we will, for X million pesos, we expect back from our contractor a road that is 8 meters wide, that the substrate is 8 inches thick, and it is this long, so many kilometers long. And that is very clear. For an X amount of money, this amount of road. And that will be enshrined into law. If the contractor cannot come up with that, let's say, nandaya siya sa pagkapal ng simento, or makitid yung kalsada, it's not 8 meters, it's only 4, it's only 5, it's whatever. Basta't nandaya yung kontratista, hindi siya mababayaran. Because by law, he has not fulfilled his part of the contract. You can do this to all forms of procurement. For so many school books, we spend a certain amount of money. The school books have to be of this quality, have to contain this amount of information. For equipment, we can only buy a bulldozer, can only be bought for this kind of money, not anything more, and hopefully even less. So this kind of quantitative legislation is one method that I can see that we can use. And it's being used in other countries quite successfully. Ang mahirap lang is at matrabaho, because you have to look at every single part of the procurement. And you know, the government procures, well, you name it, the government procures it. And you have to look at the market prices of every single item. The other thing is, these prices change on a regular basis. And lawmaking does not lend itself to immediate reaction. It takes time for the process to change the law, to amend the law, to make a new one. And so that's the difficulty there. But I think that for those items that are